Welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel every day leading up to Halloween for 13 days and discuss them. Today we are talking about 13 Ghosts, which was released in 2001 and was directed by Steve Beck. I'm your co-host, Alec.
Oh, I'm Eric. Just kidding, it's Justin, but I am filling in for Eric today.
See, it actually makes sense today for you to do it that way. It actually makes sense. Well, welcome back, Justin, and we're talking about a doozy here, 13 Ghosts. You and I were 11 when this movie came out, and I don't think I've seen it probably since I was about 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and it's been at least a decade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well over a decade for me. Definitely had like a soft spot in my heart because I remember just like Ghost Ship and what was it, The Haunting, all of those movies that came out around then. Pay-per-viewed this like relentlessly when it first came out, but not much stuck with me. I forgot Matthew Lillard was in it. The only thing that really stuck with me was, dude, when that glass like cut that guy in half.
I didn't remember that.
Oh, that's like the only thing I remember.
Yeah, the only thing I remembered is that Shannon Elizabeth was in it, and that's because ever since I saw her when I was like, I don't know, 10 in American Pie 1, I was like, I'm in love with her. So,
oh, dude, you're obsessed with her.
I'm obsessed.
You always bring her up. Like...
Dude, like, they had to. It was funny, too, because when the ghost was attacking her, it, like, smacked her boob, and I was like, they had to do that. They had to just throw that in.
I thought, because it was rated R, I was like, wait, are we going to see Shannon Elizabeth's boob again? And then, no.
No, only once, but they definitely, like, jiggled it very aggressively.
Well, we do get the, I was kind of wondering why this movie is rated R. I mean, obviously, because, like, that guy gets legitimately split in half.
There's a lot of blood.
There's a lot of blood, and then there's that one naked
yes
ghost lady. So I was like, okay, all right, I guess it. Yeah. And they probably say fuck a couple times, but whatever.
Yeah, forgot Matthew Lillard was in it. He's so underrated, dude.
He's an acquired taste. I like him.
But, like, I mean, dude, like, the roles that he plays, they're good for him.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Scream 1, Scooby-Doo as Shaggy. I mean, he's no Leonardo DiCaprio, but he's good in his roles.
He's no Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, no, well, he was in the new Twin Peaks, and he actually has a scene that you're like, dude, this guy can really act, actually. He's like an interrogation scene where he's talk about his wife getting murdered and why he didn't do it, and you're just like, dude, you played Shaggy in Scooby-Doo? Like, what the fuck? Like, you're a good actor. But yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. This is a tough movie. It's not great, and nostalgia can only go so far for so long. But yeah, it was made by the same people that made Ghost Ship. Okay,
I can see that. Yeah.
So I'm a bigger fan of Ghost Ship. Obviously, we love that movie here, but this one has some charm. It did. Starts off a little weird. It's like in an abandoned. It was like a junkyard.
Yeah, like a junk car lot or something.
Yeah, and they pull up, and I mean, I'm not even kidding. It's like the way it was shot. I thought it was like a movie within a movie because of the way that guy got out and he like pulled his cape off. I was like, is this like? And then somebody's gonna be like, cut! Like that's really what I thought was gonna happen because it just looks so like manufactured. But that was a fun scene. Whatever. You hire like 50 mercenaries and you're like, we're going to a junkyard to get ghosts. Now, I want to ask you, Justin, you're a military guy. I know you didn't, you're not like a mercenary. But if somebody said, we'll pay you $100,000, you don't even know what I'm going to say.
I'm not going to capture killer ghosts. No.
Okay, wait. Just let me pitch this to you. All right. 1 day's work. Mm-hmm. You and all your, ex-military guys are like, we'll pay you $100,000. You go to this abandoned junkyard outside of Toronto. You got to pick up a ghost. And you're like, I don't believe in ghosts. And everybody's like, I don't believe in ghosts either. What about you, Rodriguez? And like, I don't believe in ghosts either, Sarge. And you guys take your cigars out of your mouths. You get in your car. And you guys go there. You've all got your guns. You're like, this is stupid. And then, but you're like, dude, $100,000 one night. You still wouldn't go?
No. What good are guns against ghosts?
But you don't believe in ghosts, Justin.
No.
Okay, fair enough. Well, these guys do. They go to the junkyard to try and catch the ghosts. And then we get a very convoluted, like, side story with that side woman and her, like, boyfriend or whatever who are like, they're human beings. It's like, they're murderous ghosts, but sure. And then the guy dies, right? But doesn't.
Yeah, I was a little confused. Okay, he definitely died. Like, his throat was, like, it was, like, decapitated on that thing. But then he also died as a ghost?
This movie doesn't really make sense, but so that part, so basically in the beginning we see the leader guy, I can't remember his name, like Christophorus or whatever, He gets his neck sliced in half. We don't see, it's off screen, and you're like, okay, he's dead.
Yeah, Cyrus Criticos.
And then at the very, very end, Tony Shalhoub or whatever takes his glasses off, and he sees that he's not a ghost. So that's why he's like, you son of a bitch, and runs at him. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, he died in the beginning. His throat is slit. And then he has a love affair with that woman. So you're like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah, I was pretty sure he died because the camera literally, he was laying there. It looked like his whole neck went through that shard of metal. Well, yeah. Let's just say hypothetically he lived, right? And somehow got medical attention. I mean, even at the end of the movie when we thought he was a ghost, like, he still had a gaping wound in his neck.
You're right. So then why, when Tony Shalhoub takes his glasses off, is he can still see him?
I don't know, but when he got sucked into that, like, fucking mechanic thing, like, his limbs got cut off like he was a human. I don't know. And then, like, Kalina Ortizia, the woman who, like, was trying to help him open the Eye of Hell. It was just a lot of questions. First of all, Tony Shalhoub, the monk guy.
Yeah.
I've only seen him in Monk and Galaxy Quest.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
I don't think I saw that one. First of all, the first thing I was thinking was when they show Shannon Elizabeth as his daughter, I'm like, there's no way she came from his balls. Because she's gorgeous and he's just like not.
Well, Justin, actually, hold on, you ready for this? So Tony Shalhoub is Lebanese, okay? And hold on, and guess what Shannon Elizabeth's dad is?
You can say Lebanese?
Yep, Lebanese. So I'm not saying that but hey, I'm just saying, kind of believable.
Wait, is Mia Khalifa Lebanese?
The porn star?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Anyway, moving on. Anyway, so I'm thinking they got like the stereotypical little brother who's just super annoying and high pitched.
I hated him.
And then somehow this math teacher who, he even says, I don't make a lot of money, can afford Rod Digga, who is an actual MC, like a DJ person, as a full-time babysitter.
Oh yeah, that made no sense.
And then this lawyer comes at like the middle of the day and he's like, hey.
No. The morning, because they were like, get ready for school. And he's like, God damn this scooter! Like,
Yes. He comes in the beginning of the morning, and the monk guy is like, yes, I will stop everything I'm doing and drive round trip 4 hours right now. He could have been like, I gotta go on the weekend.
Can I just say one thing about that?
Yeah.
So right when he says, it's about a 4-hour drive upstate, okay? So it's breakfast because they're about to go to school. By the time they get to that house, it is nighttime.
That is true. It's literally pitch black. And you got Matthew Lillard there pretending to be the electrician dude.
Yep, perfect timing that they arrive right when he's there. Perfect timing.
Yeah, and it was funny because he and the attorney dude, who you could just tell he was giving off very, like, mischievous vibes, they got into, like, this tiff, right? Where the Matthew Lillard was like, yeah, we've got, like, 5,000 people without power right now. And the attorney was like, why is that our problem? It's like, it's actually, like, literally your problem. Like, it's because of the house.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to ask you. So you're telling me that this house knocked out all of the power for everybody else, but not its power? Like, yeah, it would blow out all, including that house's power, if that's what happened.
I don't know, man. A lot of questions. Like, the attorney who knew there were killer ghosts in the basement. First of all, if I knew a location had killer ghosts in it, I would not go to that location, ever. Nonetheless, in the basement where they're kept, and then he's making fun of them.
The guy's making fun of the ghosts.
He's insulting them, yeah.
Here's the other thing. The guy that makes fun of the ghosts, who's like the broker of this whole deal or whatever, he goes down to the basement, takes the money off of the, like, brake safety thing or whatever, and then all of the ghosts and all hell breaks loose or whatever then. You're like, he didn't know that that's what happened. Why didn't he just take out a little bit of money? Why did he take the whole thing? Like, so this movie throws up so many questions and just doesn't answer any of them.
Maybe, did Criticos do that purposely? Like, he knew the attorney would get the money and then it would lock the house for all of them, I guess?
But, like, didn't that guy, like, the broker guy, seem like he knew all of this stuff? He obviously wasn't afraid of the ghosts at first, so he must have known all of this was going to happen. Like, he brought Tony Shalhoub there on purpose.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so he must have known, like, okay, we're going to trap him here. So wouldn't he think, like, why do you even take the money? To just show them, like, by the way, we really do have money here. Here's the cash. Like, it just, yeah, dude, pretty freaking stupid.
Yeah, it's not perfect by any means.
Let's talk positives.
Positives, Shannon Elizabeth.
Oh, 100%, hands down.
When like I said, when the I forgot what they called that one ghost with the cage on her head. She was like the lead ghost.
Oh, yeah.
She was actually kind of the jackal. She was actually kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she like smacked Shannon Elizabeth boob, and that was like that's all Shannon's given us this movie. And then, dude, like for some reason though, it almost seemed like the people who didn't have the glasses on, they weren't getting attacked. I thought you could not get hurt if you couldn't see them, but then if you remember, Matthew Lillard was dodging the bat.
Yeah, because the
bat guy, was hitting him.
But she was telling, because of the other lady was like, hey, like duck or whatever, like But yeah, so that's kind of bullshit. Like, imagine you don't know anything about ghosts at all, and you're just walking. You're like, you and your friends are going to that abandoned junkyard, just walking. All of a sudden, like, your friend's head just gets cut off out of nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck? And like, so is that what we're supposed to believe that ghosts can do? They don't haunt people. They just like. Because they said that when Matthew Lillard in the beginning, when he touched the ground, he's like, this thing's killed 40 people. So does that mean he's just walking around murdering random people?
Well, those ghosts specifically, they said, are violent because they died in, like, violent situations, and they're kind of, like, stuck in this purgatory. So it would have... This movie had two directions. Kritikos, the old rich guy, could have hired mercenaries to collect these evil ghosts and capture them so that they can't do harm. Or, of course, there's this big spooky book that basically says you capture them all. It opens this, like, eye to hell that releases all of them. And that's the approach he was going with.
But why do you want to even do that?
Just because it seemed like a classic. He was so rich that he just, like, he needed to do something that money couldn't buy, which was open a portal to hell.
Oh, my God. Give me a break. All right. So fine. So that all happens. Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's like, it's a short movie. There's 13 ghosts, and they don't really spend a lot of time on them.
Yes.
So it's just kind of, that's like the main draw of the movie, is just seeing what these are, and I can't really remember any of them except for the steel cage person and the naked woman.
Well, there's the Juggernaut, which was the guy who they caught in the mechanics lot area junkyard, and then there was that big dude who pulled, like, the spikes out of him with the hammer fist.
Yeah. But all right, so here's the thing. So it's basically like if you die in a violent, horrible way, you become this violent, evil ghost. How many war-torn countries had horrible, violent deaths? Shouldn't these things just be everywhere then?
Well, also, when Matthew Lillard came back as a ghost, he was helping them. So he wasn't bad.
Yeah, and he was violently murdered. His spine got crushed. Like, yeah. So the rules just aren't really established. Also, why do the ghosts want to capture the little kids? And not little kids. That one little kid, and then Shannon Elizabeth, where they're like, she's just a kid. I'm like, she's like 28, but sure. But why do they want the kids?
Well, they wanted the kids because the rich uncle knew that his nephew had kids. So the plan was to capture the kids, and then the uncle or monk would sacrifice himself, because in order to open the portal, you have to make a sacrifice in, like, the name of love. So he was going to die to save his kids. The portal to hell was going to open. I mean, it was like literally something that it sounds like you could write this in middle school, like in recess. Like, oh, there's a house.
And then this happens.
And then puzzles happen in the house, and then they get stuck, and Shannon Elizabeth's got big boobies. Like, yeah. I mean, you know, you're watching this because it's about a movie where people are trapped in a house and ghosts are hunting them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
same
tough.
Concept as ghosts in a ship. They're stuck on a boat and ghosts are hunting them. You know, it's like Steve. It's just like Steve is like from South Park. Like Steve's like, guys, I got a new script, and they're like, the guy's like, all right, Steve, where are they stuck now? He's like, no, and there's like, are there ghosts, Steve? He's like, well, yes, but
and it's on a boat this time.
Well, this time they're on an airplane over the ocean. He's like, and there's ghosts on the plane, Steve. He's like, how'd you know?
Yeah. Well, this was his. He made this, and then he did Ghost Ship,
yeah,
and then that was it. They're like, all right, we've had enough of this.
No one's funding you anymore, Steve.
No, seriously. Yeah, so a lot of plot holes, which hurt the movie quite a bit. It was produced by Robert Zemeckis, though, which I'm kind of like, why? But he did the Back to the Future trilogy and Castaway and stuff. But he's probably a fan of, this is a remake. So there was one from 1960. And I looked a little bit into that. I don't really know much about the plot, but there is one kind of cool thing about that. It was presented in Illusion-O-Vision or whatever. And basically, it was a black and white film, but if you put on these glasses while you were watching it, the ghosts would appear in, like, this pinkish color. So you could, like, see the ghosts in the movie when you put the glasses on. Like, that's kind of cool.
In 1960?
1960, yeah.
Oh. You know what this movie reminded me of? Have you ever seen... I always mix the name up. It's the scary movie, like, House on Haunted Hill with Liam Neeson a long time ago.
The Haunting, dude. Yeah, that movie's good.
Where, like, the person goes on the balcony outside the window and they're, like, you know, trying not to fall. There was this period of time in the early 2000s where, we talked about it maybe on Ghost Ship, where the, like, kind of a staple horror movie is people stuck in a big scary house.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I feel like right now, like, we're 20 years away from these movies, and like, we notice cliches in these kind of the film tropes of the early 2000s, and yeah, well, dude, like Scary Movie 2. I didn't realize how much it made fun of this, and obviously The Haunting, the other movie we were talking about with Liam Neeson, they make fun of that. But Scary Movie 2, remember with the glasses, and that's how they see the ghosts?
Yeah,
that's all from this. I was like, whoa, how that went right over my head. So yeah, so you're right. There's a lot of stuff. The other thing about the 2000s, which I'm like, good lord, this movie just abuses, dude, is the flashes. Oh my god.
The what?
Like, just the white flashes. Like, whenever you see, like, a monster for, like, a fraction of a second, it's just like, white flash, and then it cuts to something else, white flash, and it cuts back. You didn't notice that?
Dude, I don't even think I noticed that.
Oh my god, dude, it was fucking horrible.
Yeah, it was an interesting film, and I don't really know why those cliches. It's like one movie came out, and everyone was like, wow, people love this movie with people in a house. Let's just literally tweak it a little bit. And they just kept doing that till eventually people were like, okay, I've seen enough scary house movies.
That's how everything goes, though. It's like slasher movies in the 80s was the same thing. They just got tired after a while, and that's what the early 2000s was, a lot of haunted house movies. But this one just, yeah, I think it relied too much on the special effects of, like, the house. Like, it is an impressive house. Like, it's pretty cool that that's the set. And then the ghosts, like, that's it. And then the plot is pretty much just like, whatever. They're looking at the ghosts. Who cares? The other thing is, like, and I don't want to be too critical of her, but the nanny character, the Rod Digga, like, she seems so out of place in this movie. And I know she's supposed to be, like, the comic relief character or whatever, but, like, I don't understand why she's there. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, she's the nanny, but it definitely was not focused on her. There was a period of time where towards the end of the movie, they showed her again, and I was like, I completely forgot she was in this house. And then she found, like, that mixing DJ board at the end. Do you remember that?
Well, I think that's the only reason she was in the movie is because they didn't have another character to do that. You know, because the kids were tied up, Matthew Lillard's dead, Kalina's evil, and then Tony Shalbalber was fighting. So it's like, oh, we don't have anybody else.
We need a DJ. Kalina was also in Army of Darkness.
Yep. Yeah, she was Ash's, like, love interest, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are in other things. The attorney was in Exorcism of Emily Rose. So.
Oh, yeah. But, all right, but sorry. Just back to Ray Day really quick. So I just want to know, like, it's not even her. It's, like, the writing. I just want to know, like, they're sitting in the room, and they're like, you know, it'd be funny if, like, they have a nanny who's, like, really bad at her job, and, like, when they go to the house, there's, like, a lot of windows, and then she says, like, guys, I don't, like, clean windows, by the way. Like, that'd be pretty funny, right, guys? And, like, everyone's like, okay. And then it's like, we could end the movie with her being like, I don't get paid enough for this. Like, this wasn't in my job description. I'm just wondering, like, why is this in this movie?
Because it's early 2000s humor.
It's so bad, dude.
And
it's just,
it always seems like lower budgeted films with kind of bad scripts seem to have, like, really cheesy humor. I don't know why.
This isn't low budget, dude. This was $42 million in 2001.
You know what? Speaking about budget, was this profitable?
Not really. So it got $42 million budget and made $68 million. So made some of its money back, but not enough to make 14 ghosts, you know?
I mean, I'm surprised it's profitable, though.
Well, it's got a pretty good cast. I mean, especially for that time.
Made a lot in Austria and Taiwan.
Huh. You just acknowledged Taiwan, Justin.
Oh, sorry.
We just got canceled.
I'm sorry, John Cena.
Sorry, John Cena. Okay, so yeah, I love it when movies do well in random countries. They're like, oh, dude, people in Cambodia love this movie. Like, I don't know why. It's always funny to see, like, a random country that just loves a random movie. But yeah, so it was the film was critically panned upon release and was a financial disappointment. It's like, ugh. There's some positives here, though. I mean, obviously, you know, the set's cool, the cast is decent. Shannon Elizabeth, though, yeah, obviously she's quite attractive, but her character is just so, like, happy about everything. Did you notice, like, she's like, there's a bath.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, a bed?
Like,
oh, my God.
She went, and that's also, if you notice, she was in Scary Movie where she played the exact same, like, ditzy, overly happy girl. Dude, so I'm looking at these comments right here, and this guy said, complete waste of time.
Oh.
Such an awful mess. It hurts to think of all the decent movies that could have been made with this bloated budget.
Aw. I mean, hey, there's worse things out there. I'm having trouble thinking of them, but they exist.
Dude, 1-star review. 13 doesn't refer to just the number of ghosts. It also refers to the age mentality of the screenwriter. Oof. Oof.
I think who they were aiming it at.
That's a personal attack right there. Yeah, dude, Shannon Elizabeth, I mean, she was in Jay and Silent Bob, American Pie, and then a Scary Movie, and then, like, I think
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost, oh my God, yeah. I mean, you know, she's one of those actresses that has certain roles that they fill in movies, so.
She kind of fell off the map, dude. Like, after, like, American Wedding, like, I haven't seen her in, like, anything. From, like, 97 to, like, 2003, she was pretty much on top of the world. She was in, like, everything, dude. So she was killing it. Yeah, I miss her. I like her.
I miss you, Shannon.
Yeah, dude, Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, she was awesome in that. But, yeah, I don't know. What else about this fucking movie? The poster's kind of cool, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one thing Steve Beck did. This and 13 Ghosts had sick things. I really didn't remember this movie at all. I remember thinking it was scary when I first saw it when I was like 12 or whatever. But when this ended, I looked up from my phone and I was like, wow, that was a bad movie.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it last night, like, falling asleep in bed, and that's how, like, not scared I was in this movie.
I mean, if you haven't seen it, I'd still say see it just because it's a classic 2000 horror film. We talked about it on Ghost Ship where 2000s had a lot of good movies that you had to see. And I think Matthew Lillard is iconic in these types of roles.
Yeah.
And the monk guy seemed really out of place. Like, he just seemed... Like, of all the people to put, like, why... I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to get, like, a generic, like, math teacher-looking dad. But it was just... He seemed out of place.
Him and the guy that played, like, the big bad guy, evil guy, like, collector guy, they were definitely, like, too good for this movie, like, acting-wise. But... All right, just really quick, the ending or whatever, with Kalina kissing... what the fuck's his name?
Kritikos?
Cyrus, Kritikos, yeah. What? They just threw that in there like it was, like, out of left field. They're fighting the whole movie, and then at the end, all of a sudden, they're in a relationship. Like, did I miss something?
From my understanding, he had this well-thought-out plan for her to do, where it was to infiltrate the house and kind of make sure all the ghosts were doing what they're supposed to do to open the eye. And for some reason, she kind of reminded me of, like, in, like, the Mummy movie, like, A Knock on a Moon, where she was, like, so excited by this guy's power and opening this demon portal that she did whatever. And in the end, you know, he killed her because he doesn't care.
But it was just, like, so contradictory to her character in the beginning where she's like, they're real people, like, let them go. And then at the end, she's like, I'm all here for you. It's just weird, dude. It didn't make sense. And I just think it's really convenient that her and Matthew Lillard's character just show up, like...
The exact same night, yeah.
Yeah, just fucking dumb. The other thing is, like, I'm looking here on Wikipedia, and I know they released, like, a UHD version of this, like, 2 years ago or whatever, where they really go in depth about each of the ghosts' like backstories and like who they are and everything like that. And you're like, that really would have made this movie a lot better if they kind of like really went into like how he captured these. Like actually that'd be a good prequel, is showing him capturing all of these things.
Yeah, I don't think a budget would get approved for a prequel. I think I think a prequel would be a cool story showing him and Matthew Lillard capturing all these ghosts. But even, like I've said before, they could have added 10 to 15 minutes to this pretty short movie and done a very quick 30 to 45 second like little background story on each one. Like, oh, Ghost 1, as they're flipping through the pages, being like, this is the Juggernaut, this is the Jackal, and explain like she died by this and she's been haunting blah blah blah. But instead, like, they kind of randomly showed them at obscure times, and
Yeah, with quick flashes, and they just mention the name. But yeah, if you look on Wikipedia, even every one of them has their own paragraph explicitly explaining how they die and all that stuff. So, I mean, Joe Testa and I did Darkness Falls, which was from 2003, a couple months ago or whatever, and that movie was like, okay, this is not a good movie. Why don't they remake it? Because the premise is kind of good, and it wasn't profitable, but, like, they always remake good movies. Maybe it'd be better to remake a bad movie.
Yeah, I think that
no one's gonna take that. No one's like, I pitched that at a meeting. Like, why the fuck would we remake a bad movie?
I think it makes sense from a movie fan point of view. Like, hey, this is a good plot. If you enjoyed it while it was shitty, you probably enjoyed it if it was really good. But I think from like a Hollywood investor point of view, for maybe these guys that just see movies as dollars, they're probably thinking, why would I back something that didn't do well the first time?
No, I mean, listen, it makes complete sense. I think, like, if there's a good movie and they remake it, it doesn't taint the original, but I think it confuses later generations, and they're like, I thought this was the real one. And, like, you think you talk to, like, a 15-year-old nowadays, they're going to know that Planet of the Apes is from 1968. They're probably going to think, like, it's just the James Franco one or the Tim Burton one,
Or the Matt Damon one.
Matt Damon was in Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, dude. The original remake that came out in... Oh, boy, let me look it up. How do you not remember this?
Matt Damon?
Dude.
No, Mark Wahlberg.
I'm sorry, Mark Wahlberg. Right,
like, right. Not Matt Damon. He's pitching cryptocurrency in 2001. No. But, so, actually, really quick, I just want to mention this before we sign off here. The company that made these movies, they're called Dark Castle, and they basically went in, like, the early 2000s. They started with House on Haunted Hill, and they just remade a bunch of movies from the 50s. So they did House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts, Ghost Ship, Gothica, House of Wax, all these movies. And I guess there was a guy in the 60s called William Castle, and he was a director, and he did the original 13 Ghosts. So they're like, let's make a whole production company called Dark Castle, and we'll kind of, like, remake all of his movies. So I wonder if that'll happen in the future with, like, Dark Hitchcock or something like that.
We'll see. But this got a 5.6. What would you give it?
3.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
Like a 3 flat?
All right, 3.5. 3.5. Because Shannon Elizabeth.
3.5. Ugh.
I'm being honest. It's Halloween. We're supposed to be honest. If not now, when?
I'm going to go... Oh, damn, dude. I'm going to go 4. Shannon is a big part of it. Also Matthew Lillard. But it could have been so much better.
Oh, yeah. But hey, we were young when it came out. It's a good 2000s little reminder of how we've grown as society. All right, Justin. Well, you're doing the next one with me, so why don't you say we spin the wheel?
Sure.
Sure. All right, Zombieland, first one. So, that'll be fun. You like that movie, don't you?
Yeah.
You're a Woody Harrelson guy, aren't you, Justin?
Sure.
All right. Well, perfect. All right, great. Well, Eric's going to be off again tomorrow, but we will see you guys all, Justin and I, with Zombieland.
All right.